The following is a clip from the highly acclaimed educational radio program, The White Riot Show.
This Sandra Fluke, now, for people that don't recall, she was the one that testified before Congress that she needs Obamacare because even though she's 30 years old and she's in college, she needs someone to fund her, like, safe sex fucking all the time.
Right.
That at 30 years old, she's apparently incapable, even though she's a professional student or whatever the fuck she is. She's incapable of buying her own rubbers or her own birth control pills or whatever, so she needs the government to pay for it.
The one that Rush went after.
So this was actually in the Huffington Post. Let me read this to you. This is Sandra Fluke, fucker extraordinaire, I guess. I don't know. But it says, speaking of, here you go. Over the last 6 months, I've seen what these two futures look like. And 6 months from now, we'll all be living in one or the other, but only one. A country where our president either has our back or turns his back. A country that honors our foremothers. What a fucking feminist bitch. Our foremothers, she made up a word, by moving us forward, or one that forces our generation to refight the battles they have already won. A country where we mean it when we talk about personal freedom, or one where that freedom doesn't apply to our bodies and our voices.
Amen.
And they were actually cheering that dopey shit. Now, let me ask you something.
Yeah, but that, what did I just tell you?
Yeah,
they love over the top. They love whiny. The whole idea that they're going to have to go back and refight whatever happened, like in the '60s with Jane Fonda and Barbara Stein and whatever.
Yeah, but even if you did,
nonsense.
But even if you did, the concept is that the world's always changing. Just because you win once, it doesn't mean you get to sit on your ass for the rest of your life. But that aside, what's interesting to me is only in a liberal's view can personal freedom be equated to a federal mandate to ensure that there's enough contraception for an adult woman to have sex. Only a fucking liberal can equate personal freedom to demanding that I give you rubbers.
That I fund your sexual habits.
Exactly.
Right. That's stupid.
Seriously. That is like the dumbest fucking thing. Yeah. And they actually put this woman up as a representative of their ideals and their beliefs and shit like that.
Yeah, you know what I actually heard here is Rush Limbaugh called her a slut and all these names. Yeah. That actually didn't help.
No, it didn't help.
She would have been an easy target here, but he tainted it by being way too miserable.
Bullied her. He bullied her. Rush Limbaugh, look, I think at the end of the day, I probably agree with half the shit that he thinks he's talking about. I understand he's not a politician. He's somebody who's there to get ratings. He's a shock jock, whether he wants to call himself that or not. And by calling her a slut, you know what he did? He gave them an excuse to defend this bitch instead of running her down, which is what they should have done.
What's bad about it is it puts the focus on him and takes the focus off her. The moment you say that...
Well, it victimizes her.
The focus was on her, and very briefly you had this narrative of, here's this 30-year-old woman. You're in school this much, you must be somewhat educated, and you really need this much help with birth control. You've got like a legitimate issue you can talk about. Then here comes this well-known conservative voice. Oh, she's a slut. And then it becomes, hey. Like, what did you say? And now you're focusing on that. And I remember the first week that this came out, everything was about Rush.
Yeah.
And she just became like this poor little like horny thing that he was picking on. And
I mean, I think the Republicans need to attack this sort of thing, but attack it the right way. Sort of like what we did, but obviously in a more genteel manner, which is like personal freedom does not mean I get to give you your Dalcon shields or whatever the fuck it is women use, or birth control pills or condoms
means
or whatever.
If you want to go and have sex with whoever, go do it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Along the way, if you have to pay for a diaphragm or a rubber or whatever, you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't say to the taxpayers, you got to fund this because I can't.
Yeah.
I either can't pay for it or I can't control myself. That's ridiculous. So look, take responsibility for yourself.
Absolutely.
Join us every week at www.whiteriotshow.com to follow the latest exploits of Big Fat John and Judo Larry M. This is Mark, the man with the golden voice, and I'm not wearing any pants.